warm welcome, our viewer. Good evening. How are you doing? And praise the name of the Lord. Thank you so much for always tuning in and keeping it here at PrayerCave TV. And I'm so delighted and glad that you're always being blessed by our various programs that we bring to you every single day. And today, as you know, this is your favorite spot, the Youth Nation. This is a place we come and discuss issues that are affecting the young people. And this is the same place we try and look for solution. If not, how do we navigate through these issues? And today is such a special day. I'm so delighted to introduce to us my new co-host. Yay, a hand of applause. And karibu sana.
Asante
I'll
sana.
let you introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Ron Kenoli Okusi. Thank you for welcoming me to the Youth Nation. The fact that you guys are talking about the youth, it's a concern, not just for the youth, but also personally for me.
Awesome.
Like when people talk, I feel like I'm also getting fixed. The fact that you're fixing me, that means that there are also other people that are being fixed out there. So thank you so much for welcoming me.
Karibu sana.
Asante.
And I know we are going to have a very wonderful moment together.
Yeah.
And today again on studio, we have a very wonderful guest. He's a man of very many hearts, and I will just let him introduce himself even as we dive into our topic today. Karibu sana.
Thank you so much for hosting me.
Karibu.
Yeah, my name is Brian Nyambego. I'm a personal branding trainer. I'm also a speaker. I'm also an author. And above all, I'm a firstborn in a family of 6 kids. And yeah, I'm happy to be here today to share with the youth and also everybody who is here.
Karibu sana.
Yeah, thank you.
You've just mentioned what you do. You're an author. Maybe you can just tell us kidogo about maybe the name of your book.
Okay, I've written a book and a magazine. My book is called A Mindset of a Billionaire, but it doesn't talk about money. It talks about a poor kid with a rich dream.
Oh,
And also my magazine is called The Billionaire Magazine. You know, this whole aspect of becoming a billionaire is more of, I read a quote somewhere and it says that if you want to become a billionaire, you have to be ready to change 1 billion lives. So that's what I'm trying to do, to make sure that there are people out here, young people who have dreams that probably haven't been exposed yet. So we are using the magazine as a tool to speak for the voiceless, to speak for those people who have dreams. Yeah.
That is powerful. They say that if you hack it in your mind, then you hack it in reality.
Yeah.
So if you think big, then you become big.
Sure.
Wow, that is powerful. Today we want to discuss more about personal branding.
Yeah.
Tujue nini hii personal branding? It's something we hear here and there. But what exactly is personal branding?
For me, personal branding is more of someone realizing themselves, because a wise man say that don't ask yourself what the world needs, ask yourself what makes you come alive, then go do that, because what the world needs are the people who have come alive. So basically for our generation today, they have to realize that you have a gift, yes, but that gift has to be able to probably command a crowd. And how do you command a crowd? You have to be able to build a brand for you to command a crowd. Then from commanding a crowd, you'll create value from them. So I think it's more of people need to understand that personal branding in our generation today. Personal branding is very, very key. How do you be, probably we have more than 1,000+ authors in Kenya, but how do I stand out as Brian now? How do people, like, you know, because when you go somewhere and probably say my name, I know someone by the name Brian Nyambego, people are like, okay, that author, you see, because I think that's the biggest thing that people are supposed to learn about. And yeah, I think that's the simplest way I can put it into.
So in short, I'm a brand by myself.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So let me get this right. So before personal branding, first of all, you must have something that you're giving to the world.
Yeah.
Like a product, something of the sort.
Sure.
So what is the reason for you to start? You already have the product that you think people need. Why do you really need to, again, have personal branding when the product already exists?
Okay.
And it can sell itself.
Yeah.
You see, let's use an example. We have 3 people in the room called Brian, right?
Yeah.
And if you have 3 people in the room called Brian, we have to define each one of them with what they do. Unless we'll have missed out on identity, because you see, I'll use an example. let's say someone knows me as Brian, let's say the guy who writes.
Yeah, yeah.
Then there's the other guy also who probably writes articles. Now, where do I come in
Yeah.
terms of I've written a book, I've written a magazine? Because if you don't identify yourself with what you do, people won't exactly know you. People will put you in a place of you're like the rest.
Yeah,
You're like the rest. So we have 1,000 brands in the room. So do you want to become the rest or become the one who's like outstanding? Because a wise man say that when they sit, I stand. When they stand, I stand out. And when they stand out, I set the standards. So yeah, you have to do all that. Yeah. So I think personal branding is more of having a gift. Having a dream is one thing. Having a gift is another thing. But branding yourself is like makes you authentic
Yeah.
from our generation today, because it's more of when you have a dream, you're sitting. When you have a gift, you're standing. And then now when you've branded yourself, you've stood out of the rest.
So it's not just about being another author or another Brian.
Yeah.
With
You
the,
have to have something that uniquely identifies you.
Yeah.
That is powerful.
Nice.
Yeah.
And now, if we look at maybe the millennials, these are people who wanted to be known by what they do, and by that I mean maybe career-wise. So tunajuanga we ni doki,
Yeah.
ule ni mse fulani, ule ni pilot,
Yeah.
but it's not the same with the Gen Z. What is not happening? How are they identifying themselves? How are they branding themselves?
Okay. I think sometimes when I look at the generations we've had before, I'll look at probably, let's start from the Gen X.
Yeah.
The Gen X, during that time, they really wanted financial security.
It is true.
They had a lot. That's the time when we had the pandemics, some of the worst diseases that have ever occurred. I mean, and then now the Gen Zs today are more of most of them are depressed. Most of them are that's one thing actually that I've realized. And I think the difference comes in from a point of the Gen Zs are very, very disruptive in a way.
Yeah,
The Gen Zs want to probably, when you look at, let's say, during the age of the millennials is when things like Facebook, things like, I think, let's start with Facebook. That's when the internet started to come up now. So I think it's more of our generation today is more disruptive. So they're trying to create an environment where they can be, let's say, if I have an idea, I'll look for an environment where people can accommodate me for the same thing.
Yeah.
So for me, I think being a Gen Z, I've like gone through the same that probably other Gen Zs have gone through, because me having a gift, me having a dream, I needed people who could affirm me to probably be an author. But now if I don't find those people, I'm going to probably do something else that I'm not going to probably love, and that will end out to be probably chaos at the end.
Yeah.
So I think the difference is that our parents had or probably the millennials or probably the Gen X, they had a different way of thinking. Every generation has a different way of thinking.
That is true.
And the Gen Z has a very, very different way of thinking as well.
Actually, very unique.
Yeah, because you see some of them unaweza kuwa unaishi kwa a store, then you wonder, like, for you wake up every single morning, unaenda job, there is that guy anamkaga Monday anaenda naosha gari yake downstairs, anarudi kwa nyumba, then just a random Tuesday he's going to do shopping, he's coming back home, then you're wondering, what does this guy do?
True.
So probably this guy he's good at probably something like trading. He's probably doing some online classes teaching people from different countries and all that. So people have come up with ways of probably getting money or probably giving value to the world. And I think that's the whole aspect that the world hasn't understood yet.
True.
Yeah.
And maybe just to bring this conversation home, maybe you can tell us, how has personal branding impacted your life?
Okay, personally, for me, personal branding has really, really helped me. I'll start with when I was 17, I wrote my first book.
Wow.
When I was 18, I published it. Then by the time I turned 19, I had sold my first 1,000 copies. And then now...
Wait a little, there's someone who wants to know.
Yeah.
Now, how old are you?
How?
Okay, I'm turning 21 in March 23rd.
Okay.
So I'm 20 years so far. So, and then by the time I was turning 20 now, I got my first job as a marketing strategist at a Royal Business School. It's in town. So basically, I think it's more of after I identified myself. You see, when I was 17, I had already like knew that this is what I want. And for a fact, I know that once you realize what you want to do and what you want to have, those two things will drive you to where you want to be, the destination.
That
now.
is true.
So I think for me, the whole process has been more of personal branding myself as an author, branding myself as a speaker. Wherever I go, that's what I'll do. That's what I'll tell people, that this is what I do. Yeah, and it's really helped me because from the time I was 19, I've been able to pay, my school fees, my rent, everything. I usually cater for probably sometimes my siblings' school fees at some point. So it's more of, it's helped me big time. I can't like I just know it really has played like a big role in my life.
Wow.
Yeah.
So first of all, selling 1,000 copies. How?
Okay. I've really, let's say, sometimes we do organize tours
Yeah.
across the country because after the media tour that I'm doing right now, I'll start off the high school tours and campus tours, more of the master classes to teach young people on personal branding. And also, selling the 1,000 copies came with an aspect of, there is something that people haven't realized yet, that when you have a product and you know that it can impact a generation or probably someone somewhere, then you can come out in a way. Now, this is the reason I'm teaching young people on personal branding. The first day that my books were out, I sold like the first 100 copies. And so I think from that's when I knew the potential I had. So I believe that there is today, when you're good in probably a skill like pitching, you're good in a skill like communication, you can be able to walk into a boardroom, pitch your idea. And I think the first time I ever pitched an idea of my books, the member of parliament of Mumias East bought around 500 copies of my books. Yeah. So I think it's more of the skill that you have. Are you able to communicate? Are you able to pitch the idea to people? So I think it's more of that. It's based on those two things. Yeah.
Ron, what were you doing at 17?
Wow. 17. Still trying to run around. But we caught up. We caught up with life.
Yeah,
Now
sure.
being a Gen Z, now that you associate with a lot of people, akili pia inafunguka,
Yeah.
you get to do quite a lot of things. Now, you talked a little bit about what the Gen Zs were doing.
Yeah.
I don't know do you think globalization is like supporting what we are doing? Like now, information is so current, and unlike traditional education penye unangoja textbook, right now it's a PDF that is so current information. Like how imekusaidiaje with such stuff?
I think for me it's more of learning a new skill every single day, because yesterday I was looking at a tweet where Elon Musk was saying that by 2040 we'll have like human robots. I mean, look at what is happening today.
Yeah.
Probably 5, 6, 7 years ago, ChatGPT wasn't there.
Yeah,
It-
true.
Today
Yeah.
it's there. Like, I mean, you'll just feed it information, then it will give you the right answer to that. So when you look at, there's a question Vusi ever posted on his page, and then he asked, in the next 10 years, that thing that you're doing right now, will it be able to survive at this age of let's say the AI and everything? Will it be able, if it can survive, then you're good to go. But if you're sure that it won't survive, probably let's say someone is let's say is working in McDonald's or KFC. I mean, in the next probably 10 years they'll be replaced by a robot.
It is true.
So that's something that probably is not going to last for a long time. But let's say someone who's a public speaker like me, how can I be able to make sure that this skill of mine will go for the next 30, 40, 50 years?
Sure.
You see, because I'm sure that there is rare information that people don't yet have. So I think it's more of it's a two-way traffic actually. It's a two-way traffic. So you either become better or you either become mediocre. So those are the two things, because becoming better is like learning a skill every single day, being able to know that, okay, asking yourself that question, that in the next 10 years, will my skill be erased or will it be still there for the next probably 30, 40 years?
Oh, that is powerful.
Actually, Elon Musk, just was it yesterday? The first human
Yeah.
has Neuralink.
Yeah, I read that somewhere. And then I was like, wow,
And
this is crazy.
ChatGPT went. It was the first. Can I say software that had 1 million users like the first weekend?
Yeah.
So times are really moving, and wow.
Sure.
Yeah, things are getting easier and better with time.
Yeah.
Now, do you think there are elements or stages of strong branding?
Yeah, sure. There are elements because for me, I can say personally this year, since I started, it's taken me consistency, it's taken me commitment. Those two things play a very, very big key role in terms of personal branding.
Yeah.
Because you see, when you're committed, let's say on TikTok, you know very, very well that, okay, I was having a conversation with one of my friends. His name is Idris. Idris is from Mombasa. He has like 1.1 million followers on TikTok through a character that he usually acts, Mama Fatma. So people know him as Mama Fatma, the character, but his real name is Idris. So I was having a conversation with him and I was asking him, how do I build my TikTok to a point where yours has reached? And then he was like, at the end of the day, you're good in Instagram, you're good in Facebook, but now let's come to TikTok.
Yeah.
And then he was like, you can leverage that thing as much as you're committed and consistent enough to make sure that you build a strong brand there. So I think it's more of consistency and commitment that plays a very big key role, because are you able to post that one video every single day? Because I mean, you can't post a video today and post a video after 2 days and then expect to get a good number of followers. That's not
true.
possible. So you have to be able to have that consistency of posting a video every single day of what you do, then being committed enough to be like, okay, learning, let's say reading more books, listening to more podcasts, getting content. That's commitment. And at the end of the day, those two things will build what's called value. And that value is more of giving you the audience. Then now from the audience, I think you can be able to leverage and get money from there. Yeah.
Oh, that is powerful.
Yeah.
And talking about consistency, if you look at most of us, and especially the young people, we lack that virtue of being consistent in what we do, because what you see is you'll do it today and tomorrow you're probably doing something else. But if you look at the patterns with Gen Z, they want consistency. If today you're on TikTok and tomorrow they come and they don't find you,
They don't
how
find
they
the
hook to a
content.
next person. So consistency is key.
Yeah, sure.
That is powerful.
So the energy that it takes for that, I mean, how do you balance now? Okay, yes, it's something you love. Now, the time, money, come on. In fact, a little bit about money.
Yeah.
How do you...
Okay, I usually go on Facebook Live. Okay, I did my first Facebook Live last year. I think it was December, yeah. Then I was teaching people about the money, the mindset, and the mastery. You see, once you are able to have that mindset, then once you're able to master, then you're able to get the money. So I think in terms of money, for me, it's more of finding someone who's been there before, because they usually say that you will never have a second child if you don't have the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah, you will never have the second
never
child if you don't
reinvent
have
the
the first
wheel.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just that way. So the same thing with money. You'll never handle, like, if you want to handle like let's say 1,000,000 shillings, you have to be able to first handle that let's say 100 shillings that you get every single day. How do you spend it? That let's say 1,000 shillings that you get every single day, how are you able to spend it? Because you want to be a millionaire, but you can't be able to even budget for 1,000 shillings. I mean, that's the first lesson I ever learned, and from that point, I think it really played a very big key role in my life so far. And I know that through that I'm able to handle my finances well, to probably pay for my fees, pay for everything all across, and probably sometimes even help my dad to finance my brothers and my sisters. So I think from that point is whereby it really shaped my life.
Okay, one thing. Do I really need a product for me to become a personal brand? Something that is going on.
I think everybody is born with a gift. If you're not born with a gift, you're born with people call it talent, right? So I think it's either talent or a gift or a dream. One of those three, you have it.
Yeah.
Not probably at some point in life you will not realize what you have until probably it can take 5, 6, 7 years. So I think one thing I usually tell people is sometimes you might have not figured out that I'm good in this until it gets to a point where you're like, okay, I never realized that I was good at emceeing until I was given that chance. Because I remember in high school, kuna msee class alikuwa anaitwa Kierehere. Right now, this guy is getting money from emceeing.
Kierehere was a gift.
So he never realized that until today. Right now, he's able to pay his bills through that emceeing. So he never realized then, but now he does. You see? So I think it's not necessarily like a product, but just realizing that you have a gift and you can use that gift to empower people or probably help young people or just anyone. Because you see, in the world right now, we have over 7 billion people. You don't have to target like all of them. Just your target audience should be 0.01%. That makes a total of 7 million people. Imagine if I sold my book to 7 million people. That's like probably 7 billion shillings I'd get from those people. 7 billion shillings can really serve me plus probably the next other generation. My even my grandkids. I mean, you don't have to focus on 10%, 20%. Just focus on 0.01%. That's it.
Now, talking about the gift and the talents, maybe there's someone who is asking, how can I identify my gift, my talent? How do I know that I have something that uniquely identifies me?
I think for me, from my perspective, is realizing that people have different, probably everybody has a different pace in life. I might be going at 180. It's like the same thing. You see, one thing I usually use like an example of, you will never put a Mercedes engine Pro box. That's you can't do that. And probably you can't take engineer Pro box okay for Mercedes. It can't work. So you have to realize first, what am I good at? And to realize what you're good at, it might take time. Possibly you might not identify it today, even if you force your mind to do that. But as much as you accept the fact that, okay, I haven't been able to realize what I'm good at. Just try this. You know, when you haven't realized what you're good at, try the first skill. Is it working out? Because there's something that I've learned from all these people who've made it in life. People like Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, Richard Branson, and there's this other person who invented the bulbs. This guy tried more than 999 times. Thomas Edison. So the first time that it worked, it was during the 1001 time. So I mean, he tried more than 1,000 times, and then during the 1001 time is when it worked. So it means that sometimes it might not. There are people who, like, from the word go, they've realized that there's someone who's born, and then probably they're taught something. Look at some of the best athletes. Someone like LeBron James. His kids are playing basketball. So they realized what they were good at since when they were kids until now. I have a friend who probably, he comes from a background of business. Right now he's running a business in town. So it's because I think it's more of he got exposure earlier. There are people who get exposure earlier, and you can't compare yourself to those people. So you have to realize that for you it might take time, but keep on going, keep on, going for those networking events. You won't know. Just one day you'll be like, okay, so I'm good at this thing, and then that's it for you. So I think
now again, these Gen Zs, they want everything to mushroom. Like today tomorrow they want to have the bag, and now you telling them it takes time to know what you're good at or what you're talented or what is your gift. It takes time. But this person cannot hold. I easily try the 999 times to know what they are good at their 1,000, How do we encourage them that they have to keep at it? They have to maintain the pace.
One thing is, I think when you decide to enroll for the gym, you've paid for your gym membership. The first day you'll go there, you'll probably utafika home uko zile za, no, I'm quitting this thing.
Can't do this thing again.
But the next day when you wake up, you're like, okay, let me just go. You'll realize that the pain that you had yesterday, today imepungua kidogo. The third day imepungua kabisa. So you become used to this. You start keep kicking off pole pole, and then once a month is over, you realize that okay, you won't have the results that you really feel like you wanted. You want the biceps and everything. After a month, it won't be there. But give it 6 months down the line. Now you'll see the results. You'll probably see like, there's some changes in my body.
Sure.
So I mean, the first 1 week you won't see the changes. The second week, a month, you won't still see the changes. 2 months, you won't realize it until it's 6 months. And it's not you who will realize the changes. It's someone who's not you, like probably your friend will tell you, you've changed. I mean, the gym is gymming.
I know.
Now that's it. Wait until people tell you that now we can see the changes. Until then, it hasn't happened, because you see, most of us are looking at the overnight successes. We want to start something today, tomorrow may boom. I mean, there's a difference here. One thing that people never realize is that opportunities are there, but opportunities when preparation meets luck. Are you prepared enough? Okay. Now, and the other thing I usually tell people is that God is in once you put God in every single aspect of what you're doing, then the end goal is very much better. So when you put God in any aspect of your life and then put preparation, luck will be there. And then now an opportunity will be presented to you, because we look at these people who probably, let's use an example, probably the people who've online, some probably tomorrow you're waking up, umepata mtu ametrend, then they've used that trending, they've found a way of how to leverage, or probably how to gather these people to one platform. Some people usually do that. Some of the influencers in Kenya have done that, and some of them have become successful through that. But it's because probably when you look at behind the scenes, these guys probably someone probably used to dance every single day, just posting on TikTok every single day, Then now this one time ikafika, they've trended. So for you're focusing on what happened today. You're not focusing on what they have been building. The time they've been putting in, the past 1 year, the videos they've been posting non-stop, getting 100 views, 10 views. Now you're focusing on the one that has got 20 million views. You're not realizing that this person, it took them long. So I think our generation needs to understand that it takes longer, but it lasts longer.
So in short, there is power in incubation.
Sure.
Wow, that is powerful.
So a little bit back home, for you to give out your personal brand, then there must be a story. For you, what's your story?
Wow, okay. So I think my story started when I was okay, I'm going to make it brief. So basically, I wasn't brought up in a well-off family. Now that I'm a firstborn, I've also, there's this thing that I'm starting out something for the firstborns, not necessarily for the firstborns, but I know firstborns have gone through a lot.
Please help us.
So because you see, the other day I was going through TikTok, then a close friend of mine, sent me a video. And then when I went to the comment section, there were more than 2,000 firstborns just gathered there. They're like, I've been a deputy parent, I've been a tester kid, I've been this and this. Then I was like, wow, we need to do something about this. Because nobody has realized that.
It is true.
Because I'm a firstborn in a family of 6. So you see, for me, I've grown up being told that when nikianguka nikiwa mtoi, nilikuwa naambiwa usilie, because your brother is there. They're looking at you. So you have to be this strong guy. So you keep those emotions inside, you're not telling anyone. So for me, it was hard. But I think that really prepared me psychologically to know that, I have to do this. So when I was in Form 1, I changed my whole perspective of how I was thinking, from becoming a pilot to becoming an author. When I was in Form 3, my biggest cheerleader was my mother, passed away. My sister was 3 months old then. My last born sister was 3 months old then, but right now she's 4 years. It really shaped me. And I believe that young people should realize that it takes time. For me, I think it started way back. So after my mother passed away, I remember it was during the COVID period. I started off like this whole journey of writing now. That's when I started writing. I had started writing before. So she was ready to support me once I was done with school. But when she passed away, I lost hope. okay, I didn't know then, but now I know that after she passed away, I went direct into depression for like 2 months.
Wow.
I didn't realize then, but now I know. So after that, I think there is a teacher of mine, my English teacher. Her name is Janet Kiplagat. She really played a very, very big role in my life. You know, giving me that motherly love. You know, telling me that I'll always be there for you. Just that really pushed me, because after my mother passed away, I didn't have like a mother figure. My dad was there, yes, but sometimes we'd have like this, you know, the firstborn and dad thing. Sometimes it's a lot. So for me, it was a lot. There's a time we didn't talk with my dad for like 2 months.
Wow.
Tunapitana tu kwa nyumba zile za hi. Just that.
That's it.
Yeah, because I decided that, you know, for me, I'm following my passion. That's it.
Yeah.
So I think it was very hard. But the other thing I can tell people is that yes, it took me a lot of guts to do what I'm doing today, but it's because I believed in myself. So I think right now everything is okay. I can't complain. I just thank God for everything so far. And it's so amazing to see. Okay, for me personally, I can't see the results, but the messages I'm getting every single day, Brian, you're doing amazing. I saw you 3 years ago, and the person you are today, you're a very complete different person. So I believe through that, it just keeps me going every single day, and realizing that I have to show, you know, being a firstborn is very, very, it's tough at some point. Because for someone who's a lastborn won't understand what you go through.
You have to set the standards.
You have to set the standards at the end of the day. And that's one thing that people should realize, that the firstborns also need some love. They need to be, you know, treated as if, you know, they need to be treated like, you know, I think, you know, there's a lot that we need to talk about. And, yeah, and I think that's been my life for the past probably 5-6 years, you know. And yeah, I'm so happy for the person that I've become, impacting people all across Kenya, and soon we'll be going globally now. So yeah, I just thank God.
Yeah.
Wow.
A viewer watching, maybe you can mention your mentors.
Okay. The first person who really helped me out was I'll start with the people I've met physically.
Yeah.
There's he's called Dr. Edward Okinda. This is the guy who bought my first 100 copies when my books were out that same day. He took me to stages where I wasn't able to go because of my age. I think I was 19 years old. I mean, I was like, when I was 18 actually. I was 18. You can't go to a boardroom and speak to people and you're 18 years. Because they're like,
give you the
what does 18 know?
Because, you know, when you go to an office where there is like, we have this thing of old money. Old money asks you a question: who's your dad?
Yeah.
You know, someone, who's your dad? What does your dad do? So for me, my dad doesn't, you know, Akome create that name. So I have to create it for my generation. So I think he gave me that platform. He'd mentioned my name in rooms where I wasn't there. Then all the way up, I've met people like Pastor T. I've met people like Robert Burale. I've met a couple of people, and now I keep on telling myself that in the next 5 years, I want to become like probably Mike Todd. I want to become, you know, I want to inspire my generation the same way that Elon Musk has done, the same way that Richard Branson has done. You know, just making sure that I inspire millions of people, you know, just through my writings, through my public speaking skills, through my communication skills, and also through my personal branding training. So yeah.
Awesome.
That is powerful. So there's usually this thing about having someone to hold your hand, and also again, it's another thing to have someone you're looking up to, because Poleni Gen Zs, but I think I have a thing with you Gen Zs. Pale pa mentorship. Because I feel like you guys are the type that want to do what you feel like and what you want to. So whatever your mind tells you, that's exactly what you're going to pursue. So you don't care whatever people are going to say. I see parents complaining. I think it's because of us, the millennials. We were brought up in this generation whereby the parent is striving hard to make you a doctor. yes, you don't want to become that doctor, but you have to become a doctor because of your mom and your dad. But you guys, you're telling your parent you want to become a DJ and making your parents have depression. So maybe you can just advise them what is the importance of having a mentor, someone who can hold your hand. Yeah.
So one thing I usually tell people is that you need 5 friends in this life. Number 1, you need that crazy friend who will tell you, utamwambia nataka tutengeneza 10 million in the next 3 weeks. Then they'll be like, I'm good with that. Let's go.
Let's do
you
this.
Then you need that other friend who will always hold you accountable. I have a friend who's usually tough on me.
Yeah.
They're like, bro, you said that last week you're supposed to have 5 meetings with this and this and this and this person. Why didn't you do them? No, let's talk about this, Aturuka give it to, he's straight to the point. Number 3, you need that friend who will I call them a sponsor, not per se what people think about the word sponsor, but someone who's going to take you, someone who will mention your name where probably your name will never ever be mentioned. Someone like the CEO of Maridadi Motors, this is someone who knows more than 50 CEOs in Kenya. When once he knows me and I tell him about an idea, he can go to a boardroom where there are like 50 CEOs or 60 CEOs are seated, and he'll pitch my idea there. So you need that kind of person. And number 4, we usually say that before you love others, love yourself first. So you need yourself. So once you have those 4 people, and also now there is an importance of, those people, the one who holds you accountable every single day, they can't be someone who's older than you. And I usually tell people, just look for someone who's older than you. That is someone who will hold you accountable in whichever way, because they'll be like, you're going the wrong way. Don't go there. Because I'll use a simple story. There was a guy who fell into a pit. Then now the first person passed by was a doctor, and then the doctor told the guy, once you're out of the pit, I'll make sure that I treat you. I'll give you the best treatment ever. The second person who passed by was the lawyer. The lawyer told the guy that once you're out of the pit, we'll go and sue the person who threw you in there. The third person was a policeman. The policeman came and told the guy that, you know what, once you're out of the pit, I'll make sure that you go look for the person who threw you in there, then we'll jail them. Then now number 4, the person who came was let's call them a good Samaritan. This guy came, then he saw the guy in the pit, then he was like, my friend, don't worry, I've been there before, so I'll hold your hand. So the guy jumped right inside, and then the good Samaritan jumped right inside. And then the guy asked him a question. Now you're in here with me, how will we get out? And the good Samaritan told the guy that I've been here before, so I'll show you the way. I'll show you the way out. So you need that kind of person. That kind of person is the 4 friends that you need. The guy who will hold you accountable, the crazy friend, and also yourself, and now the sponsor. So once you have those 4 people, you will go anywhere you want to go in the world.
I think just that maybe you can tell the young people what are the right strategies to build the right networking, because I think this is all about networking. So how do we do the right networking that makes us build a right maybe the brand?
I think for the right networking, it starts with us realizing that there are things that you need. I call them the 10 times. It's the 10 times rule. The 10 times rule starts with the first 10 meters, the first 10 seconds, and the first 10 words. The first 10 meters, your dressing really matters a lot. Someone will see you from the far, like just afar, let's say 10 meters, and then they'll be like, wow, that guy's dressed well.
Well, maybe to cut you short. But you Gen you do pajamas and baggy t-shirt and Crocs. How do you approach this kind of person?
Now, that's the problem, and that's what I'm trying to change, like in probably the young people. Just telling them that you can't show up, to see a CEO, probably with the first impression creates the first impression. You'll never repeat a first impression.
It's a maker or a breaker.
That's it. So the first 10 meters is the dressing. Someone will be like, okay, that guy is dressed nice. When you approach them, the first 10 seconds is probably the aura. Are you smiling? Because when I saw you first, I was like, oh, you smile. Then I was like, now we can have a conversation. Lakini ukikuja kama umebonda, it's very hard to initiate a conversation.
It's true.
Then now number 3 now is the first 10 words. when we've started having a conversation, the first 10 words that you say determines if you're going to talk for the next an hour or 2 or 3, or even are we going to have this conversation in the future. But if you never know how to pitch your idea, then that's it. I think it starts from there. Once you realize, you know, the image, because someone say that before they hear you, they must first see you.
It is true.
So we start with how people see you, and then we end with how they hear you. That's it.
So a little bit on mentorship. If you're the first one trying to crack a code, maybe a path that you're trying to tread, and there's never been anyone that has been on that path. I mean, and it seems like maybe there's no one that you've seen, or if you've seen anyone, they're not that close. Like, how are you supposed to deal with that?
Okay. I have a simple way to define that. Success follows patterns. Greatness doesn't follow patterns. Why? Because you see, success is built in a way that we follow what we are told to follow. But let's use an example of let's use a simple example. There are people that I follow, and I know these people probably didn't follow what the system said, and they managed to become great. You know, because success has a way of defining us. Because let's use an example, the 844 system. Finish class 8, finish form 4, finish campus, you know, and also after that get a good job. That's okay. But when you look at greatness is whereby someone at 16 can be a millionaire and still go to a corporate, talk to more than 17 or 20 CEOs to give them information, and they listen to them. That's greatness. Greatness is, let's say, for me, by the time I was hitting 19, the first time I was ever on a boardroom, I remember that day like it was just yesterday. I was wearing a good suit, talking to like, there were like 15 CEOs in the same room, teaching them on communication skills. And then now, after finishing, this one CEO raised up his hand, and then he was like, "Hi, Brian. You know, when you started, you didn't mention your age. Do you mind mentioning your age?" Then I was like, "Wow, now this is that moment."
This is the moment.
You know, these guys
to
thought,
break the ice.
these guys thought I was like 26. Now, when they realized that I was 19, they were like, "Okay,
How is a 19
how is a
talking to
19-year-old?" And then the youngest person in the room, apart from me, was 27. Yeah,
Oh my God.
27 years. So I was like, okay. So they were like, "And where did you learn this from?" I was like, "From books, sitting down, you know, just getting information." You know, that's when I realized that, you know, I can do this. So I think for my generation today, they need to understand that success follows patterns. Greatness doesn't follow patterns. For greatness, you can you can just do anything at whatever age you want to do it, as much as you are committed and consistent about it, and also patient enough that it will happen, and also persistent.
a little bit on the advice of reading books, because literacy, apart from the traditional education, literacy, getting information and all that.
I always want to say that you know, the best place that probably, let's say, there's a place whereby some of the best things are hidden. I think it's in books. The best information is hidden in books. There's the things that people will never tell you. Those things are in books. Let's look at some of the richest people like Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, all those people. When you look at them, or probably when they're on probably an interview, someone like the CEO of Alibaba, Jack Ma, this guy reads a lot. These guys usually read a lot. Reason being, they know something that the world doesn't know. It's because they've gotten that from books. You know, at the end of the day, it's that. Because I remember the first time I met a friend of mine. He's a good friend of mine. The dad owns a bank. So I didn't realize. So this guy told me, let's meet in Serena Hotel. I was like, okay. The first thing I did, I sent him a voice note. We've never talked. I just went through his page. Then after going through his page, I saw, like, you know, the guys that this person has met and all that. Then I was like, okay, all I can do is, you know, once you text, it can take time for someone to read a text. But a voice note, a voice message, someone will want to hear, what have you recorded? So I was straight to the point. I want to meet you. Let's talk about this and that. Then we met. Then I never realized that this guy loves reading books. So I took him a copy of my book and a copy of my magazine. Then the statement he made was I love it when it's written down on paper.
Oh.
Then I was like, okay, now I've hacked it's like you've unlocked the first padlock.
Yeah.
Now let's go to the next page.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think books are like books can put you in places. Books can give you information that nobody else has. Books can take you to boardrooms. Books can help you pioneer some of the best ideas that you've never. So I think it starts from the books all the way up.
There's something funny, ukitembea streets za town, when books are being sold, it's the only thing that cannot be stolen. And for the people that are willing to have the books, they are willing to pay the price to have it. So when you say books are hidden gems for information, yeah,
I saw a certain post on Facebook, I think, of a man in India who is a bookseller, and actually he uses a truck to sell the books. But there are times he'll just leave the truck like that with the books unattended. And then there's someone who asked, why do you leave this place of yours unattended? Then he says it's because he knows no one will steal the books, you know. So which means people don't read, and it's important to read.
Yeah, sure. People don't read because you see, I have someone who I usually go to buy books from in town, because whenever I need whichever book I want, I'll go to them. I'll be like, okay, I need this book. Ataniambia too, it's not there, but I'll find it for you tomorrow. I'll make sure that I've found it. So I think when you go there, they just unbothered. Amekaa tu hapo. But for someone who knows the value, they really, you know, for someone who knows the value of books, they know what it takes for, you know, just reading a book can give you a lot of information. Because you see, there's a day I was giving people a concept on sigma males and alpha males. Then now the guy was like, okay, he's older than me, way older than me. He's like 37. Then he asked me a question, Brian, where do you get all this information? Then I was like, it's in books.
As simple as that.
Yeah. Then another day I was also giving people information on dopamine, endorphins, you know, all that, the hormones. Like the hormones that are there. Then they were like, okay. You know, when people nod their heads, when you're in a room, let's say you're in a room, you're speaking, older people only, then they're nodding their heads, just trust me, you're making a lot of sense.
That's true.
There's something you've like instilled in them that nobody has ever done. Because you know, people can be listening, yes, very serious, but when someone nods their head and you're talking,
grasp something. Now, do you think, I don't know, there are mistakes that we make when it comes to personal branding. What are these mistakes and how can we avoid them?
Number one is thinking about money. You know, we usually are like, okay.
What else are we chasing?
Yeah, we're chasing the bag. We're chasing the bag, that's it. But now, one thing we don't realize is that before we have the money, we first have to realize the value that we give. You know, for anything that you're doing, it's about the value that you're giving the world.
True.
You know, we usually say everything is vice versa. There's the law of compensation that I've written in my book. The law of compensation speaks about the vice versa on value and value. You can't expect to give probably something that is not valuable and expect, okay, let's say it's for an example, if I give you shoes for your birthday, I buy you like 3 pairs of shoes. You know, there's something I've done there. I've given you 3 pairs of shoes. You know what will you do? You won't be like, during my birthday, always in let sweetie.
I know.
You will never. You'll always try to do something. You know, just, you know, I gave you 3 pairs of shoes. You're going to be like, okay, I can't afford 3 pairs of shoes, but at least let me try and get him 1 pair of shoes, or probably go get a good watch, a good cologne. You know, I mean, it gets there. But if I get you a sweet, you'll get me a sweet.
Definitely.
That's it.
Definitely.
Because it's just that. So we have to realize that you give value first, then you're given value back. So you're not supposed to, money is in the equation. That's hata mimi, you know, I can't say no to that, because at the end of the day, I give value first. I'll go to a school, I'll speak, and I know at the end of the day, kids will buy my books. There's a day I ever went to a school, and then they just called me to just go and give a free talk, and then I was open to it. Gave the talk, and then after that, 200 kids bought my books. 200 kids, and a copy was going for 500 shillings.
Yeah.
I mean, I just went there to give a free talk, got out of there with 100,000 shillings.
Wow.
Just a talk.
Yeah.
You know, that's it. Because I believe that once you're ready to give the
Value.
world the value, then you'll get
It'll
right
follow
back
you
the
back.
value.
Yes,
So I
true.
think we should look at what are you giving. Like, are you giving value, or give value, expect to value. Give mediocre value, then expect mediocre
mediocre
value.
Yes, true.
That's it.
Wow. So it
I
is
think-
garbage in, garbage out.
Yeah, that's
So
it.
it's what you give that you receive.
That's what you get.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is powerful. So what other mistake do we make?
I think apart from that, it's also, you know, the inconsistency that we want to put in, and be like, just sit there, because you see, opportunities will never come to your table. That's it,
That is
unless
true.
you're ready to wake up every single morning and go out there. Because I mean, if you want to be fit enough, you have to wake up every single day, go for a run, go for a walk, or something like that. If you want a peace of mind, you have to be able to probably you have to be able to let's say one evening you just get out of your bed, go have a walk without your phone, without your earphones and anything. Just have a simple walk, you know. From there you'll realize that there is an amount of peace that you never have as much as you have your phone and all that.
Just listening to
Just
yourself.
listening to yourself, having a conversation with yourself, like for the past 1 month, this is what I've done, and this is the value I've gotten back. Is it making sense that I'm getting this value and this is what I'm giving? If it's not adding up, that probably you gave 100%, then you received 40 or 20%, then it doesn't add up. If you gave 100, you're supposed to get more than 100 or 100 back. You see, because that's what we also don't look at very much, you know. Just having a conversation with yourself and realizing that what you give is what you get. That's it. But at the end of the day, when you see that what you've given is not what you've gotten, just know that there's something wrong somewhere. I think having a conversation with ourselves, that's one thing that we never do. Because even in the Bible says that just as you love others as you love yourself. So yeah.
I love that point that you said. Nothing comes easily. And that's reminded me the other day. I was just thinking about that verse that says the kingdom of God suffers violence, and those that are violent will take it by force. And I thought, wow, this is the kingdom of God, and you have to be violent for you to take it. So how much then are we supposed to be violent for this life, for us to get what our dreams, to get to what we desire to have? So nothing ever comes on a silver platter. You have to work for it. That is
And
powerful.
a little bit about maintaining consistency. Like how?
Consistency. I think,
does it have to come from within, where there's a push like from yourself, ama you have to create systems that even if you don't want to, unajipata now you're still doing it?
Okay, they usually say that a habit becomes a habit after 28 to 30 days. You know, if you do it consistently for 28 days, then it will never. Okay, let me ask a simple question. If we put food on this table, then I tell you to close your eyes, but your hand is just close to the food, right? You will definitely get the food to your mouth. Why?
True.
Because it's something that you've always been taught. Or let's use an example. If a kid, when they grew up, they were never fed sugar. You know, or probably if you decide to not give your kid sugar or salt, you know, and let them grow up just like that. You know, they'll just mtoye utapata na kunywa chai yenye ina sukari, lakini hajui difference. Juu anajua tu, me have been brought up this way, you know. Utampea chai iko na sukari, then they'll be like, okay, what's this? I'm testing something that I haven't ever tested before. So I think it's more of making it to be a habit every single day, 28 to 30 days, and that's it. You know, for something to come from within, if it's reading books, start reading probably a page today, 2 pages tomorrow. Okay, at the end of the day, you can't like decide to. It's like going to the gym. Huwezi lift weights za 100 kgs, kauja lift weights za 10 kg. Same thing. Kauji ku handle 10 bob, huwezi handle, so that's it. So I think it starts from a point of consistency, and realizing that this is my portion. I can handle this. Tomorrow, add something on top. If you've read a book today, a page, tomorrow read 2 pages, the other day read 3 pages, 4 pages. At the end of the day, you'll find yourself reading 100 pages.
Awesome. Now, a little bit, you already have the personal brand, right?
Yeah.
And you're trying to grow a community. And right now, with the age of social media, how do you do that?
Okay. Number one is realizing that once you've grown your brand, you are also growing your community, your own community, and that's like more of commanding an audience.
Yeah.
And once you're able to command an audience, you are able to monetize from it.
Yeah.
So one thing is you have to realize that the commitment that you put in is very key. But apart from the commitment, you have to also realize that once you've been able to, like, let's say, create that community, how much of information are you feeding them? Because for me, every single week, at least once, I usually have a Google meeting with my team. We usually speak about, what information are we going to feed each other? What are we going to talk about and all that? How are we ready to push this agenda forward and all that? That's why I've been able to, to host an event and have 3,000 people on board. That means a lot. Attending, that means a lot. You have to have a great team that is going to help you in mobilization, strategies, partnerships, and all that. So I think from there, realizing that what you feed your like what you feed your brand, what you feed your people is what they'll give to the world as well. So you have to be able to know that. And also, don't waste if you have been able to create a strong, because there are people who've created a strong brand, got up there, but crumbled all the way down. Because they didn't realize that there are systems that they have to build. So you have to build a system around you that is able to govern, to help you, because you see, even when the president is not in the country will still run very okay for like 3-4 days. The same way, if you're building a strong brand, then you're not there tomorrow. Who will probably do that event for you? Who will represent you? So I think we should realize that.
So systems. Nice.
Systems govern everything.
Well, time is really running, and I know there's so much that we have not talked about. But maybe even as we come to close today, maybe you can just tell us or advise our young people, how can someone adopt their personal branding and how do they evolve and grow professionally?
Okay, amazing. You see, if you're able to create let's say, use an example of a WhatsApp group, then let's say decide to have like a meet and greet, then 30 people turn up just through your message. Number one, you have to realize that you have the power of influencing people. I have a friend of mine, she just created a WhatsApp group, added people, then all of a sudden 30 people turned up for a meet and greet, just like that. I mean, it's a weekend. Someone could be somewhere doing something, but they just decided to just turn up. 30 people just for a start. Then I was like, okay, imagine this. These 30 people, one of them has 10 friends who are committed. Then they can come to this meet and greet. If we decide that all these 30 people, each of them comes with 10 people, next time you have 300 people.
It is true.
Once you have the 300 people, each of them can at least call a friend. You have 600 people. We'll be growing as we go. So that's one thing that people need to realize. And to create a strong brand, you have to realize that whatever gift that you have, you have to keep pushing it. And also realize that like, just whatever gift you have, just realize how strong it is. Just test it out. Because when I started my public speaking, number one, I decided to visit over 100 children's homes just to practice my skills. Donating food. Once you go to my feed, you'll see that I donated food to over 100 children's homes just to go and practice my public speaking skills. Then the first school I ever went, I was like, the principal was like, you're perfect in this. So that's when I realized that people don't realize where you start from. So I started from children's homes, went to schools, universities, now in corporates. So people usually look at the corporates. They don't usually look at the children's homes that I started from. So if you're growing a brand, it starts from there. Because they usually say that if you want the rain, also be ready to handle the mud.
It's true.
You have to buy the gumboots for the mud. You have to buy the umbrella for that, because at the end of the day, if you're building all the way to the top, because right now I'm in the corporates, I'm 20 years old, I have to be able to deal with questions with you don't have experience, things like things like, we can't host you today. I have to be able to
You have
To handle
yeah, to
such.
handle such.
Yeah.
You know, because if you can't handle such, then it means that you are not ready for it. Yeah.
It's true. Wow. Ron, maybe your parting shots.
Personal branding. Yeah, work on yourselves. Personal branding, work on yourselves. You've just heard what Brian had to share. Be patient, be consistent. Wait,
Yeah.
Gen Z. We have something about patience, and it's quite a problem.
Yeah.
It is
So
true.
don't rush. And a little bit about focusing, putting eyes on what you're doing, rather than trying to look
Be
at what
everywhere.
other people are doing.
Sure.
So yeah, that's much of it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was such a powerful conversation, and I love the 4 friends that I should have.
Yeah.
That was so something to take it out. It was a takeaway home,
Yeah.
and I believe my viewer, you've also gotten something. And as we say, we usually have a notebook and a pen because there's so much we get to write from these conversations. And I know this is not the end. We shall have another conversation. We've just started, so there's so much we are going to drink from this well. And I know that at the end of the day, we are going to get equipped and become better, even as we get to forge forward in life and even exploring more and more opportunities that are there for us. So and until next Saturday, I've been your host, Maureen Boyani. Always keep it here at Prayer Cave TV. Thank you.